Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have Zed, and it's actually been exactly 1 year since the last time I put Zed in a video. And I made a video on my main channel a couple months ago saying, this is the OP champion that no one knows how to play. And for a champion, did he just strip? For a champion that can't actually, you know, have a bad first clear even if you wanted to, it's kind of weird that he hasn't had the same pressure in Season 13 in terms of the win rate. Now, a lot of that's to do with the tanky people running around, but at the same time, we have a tanky person here who's going to have 70% KP, the Sejuani, and I'm going to show you how this Grandmaster Zed player is going to eviscerate the enemy and make Silas look balanced in terms of the damage he outputs. Now, obviously, we want to go for a strike. If you are more interested in the mechanics of the Zed, the main channel video, I'll link it below, basically deals with the breakdown of, you know, the passive, the max HP passive. By the way, when they're below 50% HP, you do some max HP damage. It's kind of useful against, you know, champions. And killing them, of course. So typically, yes, we still want to first full clear. We're going leashless here. We're going to observe our lane states. We got Fiora versus Jace. Jace is not going to have a fun time. Methinks it might be because of the Sejuani ganking. Let's have a look later to see exactly what happens. Now, again, we are at 201. Let's observe the blue cross, the red cross timer. That's kind of a good thing to use as a standard metric for junglers. When you finish a quadrant, at what time do you cross the mid lane? Whether it's red or blue, doesn't really matter. Keep your F keys going, as always. But, I mean, with the new pet, with the gold we've had, you know, increased in the jungle, obviously it's been reduced a little bit, but he has access to first strikes. We're 222, so he's doing a red to blue cross at the same level that a Viego will do a blue to red cross. That's fascinating, right? Because obviously different cams, ISO targets and things like that versus AoE cams. But at least we are long past the days where you just didn't get level 3 from doing blue side. Season 9, we would get level 3 from red side, but you would not get level 3 from blue side. And then they wondered why it was a spam gank meta. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do our blue here. We'll kite this out just a little bit. I won't click away here. Obviously, you guys want to watch the champion and observe the spells and the auto cancels and the W's and all of that good stuff. Obviously, getting the energy regeneration as well. Huge for farming and huge for trading. We do want to keep clicking down here, though. That's a pretty straightforward process. Look here, here's the Sejuani. 16 CS showing up with both buffs, so we know she did most likely blue side into that red. We're level 4 here. Now, this is definitely a slower clear. We're going all in on the Lucian. We should know that the Zed started leashless. That is an overcommittal by the enemy jungler, and that's the issue when you clear so much damn slower than another jungler. Now, yes, the Lucian is going to die here, but as a Zed, really, this is your game plan, right? Try and go leashless if possible. Obviously, yeah, the clear is slow because we went leashless, but at the same time, you could optimize that pretty damn well. Sub 3, right? If you can sub 3 that, I don't know how we're not carrying these games. So we're going to have a look in this one. We have a close game for the first part, so it's not like this is a runaway snowball. The Sejuani goes ahead and decides, hey, I'm not going to match the 6 camp, but let me 4 camp and then gank bottom lane. Zed started red and goes down. So the early wards, if you're Sejuani or anything like that, very, very useful. She comes out of base here, 16 CS, says, hey, let me trade because I have boots. Not realizing I think that boots doesn't really do anything for your combat stats against a melee champion if you're going to just be within melee range. It means you can kite them, but if you're going to stand on them and let them hit you with a WQ, then you're going to die. So this kind of stuff is why I'm very confused about how are people not thriving with this. Now, I know the reason, and you're going to hate me for it. It's the Scorch Claw. Scorch Claw is good. Scorch Claw is fun. Scorch Claw is nice. But if you want a better time, you can just go Moss Stomper, right? Just tank everything, or you can just go into the Gus Walker Hatchling, the Assassin Blue Hatchling. So he's really good in most pet cases, but the red one, I don't feel like we need that, right? I feel like we can get more utility from Moss Stomper going in against the tanky people, Diana's and Sejuani's, and she just does top lane. Still 16 CS, right, by the way. So you know her tier 2 Grump is up, her tier 2 Wolves are up. There's a top scuttle she's most likely going to right now. We have well then, our bot lane losing anyway, okay, so, you know, this is probably typical for a Zed player. Yeah, so I do think you don't really need the damage and the burn and the slow and so on, and it's better to have that movement speed in the bush or, you know, the survivability of being able to be a bit more forceful for your trades and skirmishes. But again, that's the principle, right? Karthus Gaming. Full clear. Look for a gank, get a crab, look for a second gank if possible, go fisting, go fighting, use your W mobility over walls, use your flash, use your slow, use your passive, right? You're very strong in those 1v1 senses. Like here we have 34 damage dealt and 40 gold gained. Now you might think 40 gold, that's nothing. I mean, we get 30 from our pet. So, you know, you add it up over time, right? And it's not nothing. Math. On the subject of math, I actually just released a magic numbers of jungle. All the numbers that you want to track in the jungle to make sure you are thriving and destroying. That's on the main channel as well. I'll link it below. Really fun video, but also something that if you don't like tracking, you struggle at tracking, or you just struggle at controlling games, best way to do it. Now look, this is it, right? 6 minute, level 6. Full clear, gank or counter gank, take a crab, gank or counter gank again, reset, do a second rotation. Okay, let's actually go through this gank now. We move to the bottom line with our level 6 here. We're going to do the little WE combo where there's a delay in the animation so the E will go through once a W hits. We make sure we hit all our Qs and then we ult the last target. We'll hit one more E and let them go pop, and that's how you do it. So that's also something that people don't really know, is that you want to try and make that animation with your E and your W really smooth, right? Because the animation won't go through until the W reaches its location for the E. And for Qs, you don't only have to flash Q, you can Q flash much like you can E flash on a Rengar. Those kinds of things, or Q flash on a Cassante. These things all exude a mechanical understanding of the champion that makes it work. And again, it's not too complicated with Zed. It feels like it could be, but it really isn't. And again, I covered all of this in depth in slow motion with animations on the main channel video. So if you want more of a combo kind of breakdown, then that will do it for you. You're seeing here, we went to our second spawn red. Our Krugs and Raptors haven't even spawned yet. We basically did a second rotation, gank bottom lane, reset, took our second red, and the Krugs and the Wolves haven't yet spawned. So that's the kind of speed of rinse camping we're looking for. Now we have rushed here the Ravenous Hydra. That has been nerfed and changed, but we're going to reposition with that W here and make sure we get that kill on the Yone, which we don't, because Sejuani shows up, so we don't overcommit either, and Renata is a bit of a champion problem. We see the RNG scuttle on the top side. This is something we do want to go ahead and focus on. The Sejuani went down, so she's most likely looking to do some gankings here. I would keep my eyes on this, but there you go. It's pretty obvious at this stage. We're level 6. She's level 6, but we're up 20 CS. 20. She's 3 kills out of 5. We're 5 kills out of 7, right? She's doing her best. She uses her ult here. She'll hit a double W, but it doesn't really change anything. The Zed is taking the topside scuttle in the meantime. Yona's going over the wall here. You see them dying to a gank that was predictable. Go top lane and do equal and opposite. Hello, Fiora. Can we say Merry Christmas to you, and would you like some death? But we'll see. She's going to turn on the Jace and just say, well, you know what? If I'm going to die here, then I'm going to try and kill the Jace. I'm not able to. I'm going to run away into that assorted direction. So the goal is still good, right? Enemy jungler goes bot lane, kills your bot lane through a gank that shouldn't really happen. And then, of course, we try and do equal and opposite. You could just take the Herald. You could just take a whole blue side. There's a whole bunch of things we can do. We have the W here. We do have ult available as well. Jace hits a long ranger, and that should be a pop goes the Weasel. Ooh, she reposted it. Well done. I should have predicted that, but you know, sometimes you hope that she just won't use it or will fail, and Sejuani shows up now with Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Ooh, she just gets knocked back into the Zed for an auto attack, and of course the Yone is not going to ult over the wall here. We're going to keep trying to survive, and we cannot. We died. But that's fine. Good to gaming, as it were. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So Fiora proving once more that she is good champion design, super fun and interactive. That's the worst. That really is one of the worst things that can happen. Oh my goodness. Well, there's some fucking going on the bottom lane, I can tell you that much. And Zed respawns here. Kalista be snowballing, and you know, look at this gold lead. It's 300 cash monies, and it's all on the Zed here. 5,000 on the Zed. 1,600 ahead of the Sejuani. Our first strike now at this point is at 250 gold. You know, and we have Treasure Hunter, so that's already, if you fully stack this at this point, that's you know, 550 plus 250, 800 cash money gold. So it's good to keep track of those break-even points, because now we have Ravenous Hydra plus a Serrated Dirk. We're going to go into the Eclipse here, or the Prowler's Claw, as you will. Hello. This, for me, is a bit of a waste of time. We kind of knew that she would leave, and that's the same thing in the Elise video, right? Like, okay, are they going to stay whereby I get a kill and they don't notice? Or is it just a waste of time because I know they should be going back to base and thus it's better set for me to go farming? In that particular case, with the Fiora, without her ultimate, I think it's better to kind of quadra control, boom, boom, cut into this, wait for her to return, and then kill her. Would have been better just to control that top quadrant, get those camps off the map, keep your sequencing going, keep that advantage going, because we did die and give shutdowns. Float into the top side, get more plates, get all the towers here, and then, of course, control this, right? That would have been huge, because now I foresee the Sejuani showing up top lane for no particular reason, but hey, she could be coming bot lane as well. In the case of Zed's scenario here, if you don't know, you can't go into the rivers, game stays looking native, just sequence down. Ah, there she did actually show bot lane. Here we go. Of course she did. She is now deciding to ult, though. That was a Nick Smithy ult. Oh, not quite. Nick Smithy ult would be more like off the side of the map. Well, WE just kills everybody, and obviously we do have the ult particular in this case, and we are able to get 2 kills in this particular regard, which is great because our Lucian gets a shutdown on the Kalista. So once more, the WEQ doing a huge amount of damage, and use your ult on cooldown, right? If you're not finding these ganks or these moments like this where you're kind of sequencing and finding the perfect scenario, the Yone confuses me though. I will say that. Yeah. So if you're not finding these moments, just play around your ultimate. Typically, you can always find a way to play around your ultimate. You've got W flash to be able to get into long-range situations. I mean, Yone just gets to press E. I understand your frustration with this, but you get to do things, you know, no other champion can do. So use that range, get that ult off, and at the very least, you're still killing someone every single time that ult is up. Now, for example, here we're already at 85 seconds on the CDR, but that's going to be, in the end, 57 at current haste level, right? And obviously, if you wanted to go Ultimate Hunter, you could, but I do think snowballing is the order of the day. Now, I did make a how to gank. I did make a how to gank guide. I've made many how to gank guides. No, I made an assassin total guide. How to play an assassin from start to finish, teamfighting, everything. I think an objective is good here because at this point, I mean, our second rotation, we see the Sejuani top lane. She will know we're going for this, and she will go for the Herald most likely. Yep, there we go. We see that on the minimap. This is obvious. You know, the first rotation was great. You know, second rotation, great. By the time the third rotation came, we already had dead time from the action and basing. Now you can imagine it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, right? Krugs, Raptors, Wolves, Grump. You get such a long period of time between those Krugs spawning again in terms of your sequencing. Objectives, dives, counter jungling, invades, sitting in bushes, snowballing further. You know, don't want to be passive with it. Here we've got a little bit of an advantage now with the Lucian finishing his item. Maybe we can do something with the Sejuani going topside here. And now the ADC is going to go to the subreddit. Zed is such an OP champion. Through exhaust, he still killed me. Look, if you're an assassin, now Zed obviously does shadow play, keeps his space, and goes back and, you know, uses his passive as much as he can. Can't use it more than every 10 seconds on the same target, but at the very least, he's maximizing that damage. He's got his ult off. He's hitting every Q, every auto, every E. He's filling that space to make sure he doesn't get kited out by the range component, repositioning with the W, killing the Sejuani here with the Silas, as well as the Yone. We're not talking about this, but if you're an Evelyn, if you're a Shadow Kane, if you're any sort of assassin in this particular situation diving, you've got to be able to make this play. You know, this is the next level play. So Sejuani spent time helping the Kalista snowball. And also this is a good one as well. We'll just go W over the wall there. The Berserk doesn't really help, but I love it. I love it when that happens. They just accept it. But you know they're going to be flaming something about the game and why ADCs are so hard done by. But at the same time, you know, that's your role. Your role is to kill stuff that's in front of you and to kill tanks and beefy people and have peel from your tanks and your supports hit towers and so on. And at the end of the day, if there's a bit of a jungle difference, which there is in this particular regard, they will be able to offset any ganks you received. And Zed is so supremely good at it. And I think it's not so much that it's always too difficult to kind of face or deal with. It's just that it's in the moment when you're fighting with the shadows, it can be difficult to kind of deal with someone who just rushes in with sort of his full combo, and it's just so quick with how he kills you. And then of course he can reposition again. We're going to use a flash. You go into tower. This is, oh sorry, not flash, W. See again, I meant to say W. It's kind of wild that. See, that was an Nick Smithy ultimate. Sorry, I'm trying to think about what's going on. That was nice. Well done, sir. I'm trying to explain things, and I'm very confused by what the entire enemy team is doing. He uses his W to go into the tower, clears the wave. Sejuani does Nick Smithy this particular ultimate, and he just repositions with his W over there to get that final kill. So once more, W usage in this particular case of positioning, pay attention to it. It is very good. I know we're not slowing down and breaking down the combos on every cancelled auto, but you know, I leave the match history link in the description. You can do it. You can do it. This is, we're talking about jungling and what Zed can actually do numbers-wise. And of course, as I was saying, you know, even for people in-game in high elo, they're trying to track this and follow the shadows and follow his cooldowns and follow his spacing and his ultimates, and it can just be so quick, right? You don't leave a lot of time for people to react to you. And I think if you have a mastery of understanding these animation cancels and optimizing your shadow play and hitting all of your spells from human and shadow form, you don't want to be the guy that ults someone, misses his spells, and kills them, you know, like that. No one enjoys that. You want to be the Zed that hits every spell and makes him realize that he doesn't need to ult to kill most people. That's the kind of stuff we want to do. And obviously, mind games and positioning. So, very nicely done here. Obviously, I was trying to talk. I don't know why I thought he flashed. It's late. It's Christmas time. I just released a main channel video. But that's the kind of stuff we want, right? What else kind of does that? Most assassins have this quick burst or animation cancel or rotation of spells that people can't really react to. But here we go again. See, we have everything up here. There, we should do it again. There's your EW combo. I keep saying WE, but you know what I mean at this point. Ooh, she does run away here. See, in this case, you don't want to use the ultimate because you do kill her, but at the same time, do you want to waste it killing the one-shot target? Not particularly. Her going back to base here is more than enough because she can't stick around. If she can't amplify the Callista, the Callista ults the Renata, and then Zed just does it again. So, from a damage perspective, okay, we are 12 to 8. We have 40 stacks of the Hydra. We have our Eclipse, so we can't really be killed. And I think against the Callista, a Sejuani, Fiora, a Yone, Prado's Call is nice against the Callista, especially damage amplification and mobility because of her kiting and her exhaust. But against that particular comp, you know they're going to focus you. So having the Eclipse plus the Omnivamp stacking plus the shield, it's good. It's good. It's really a lot down to personal preference. And obviously here, the Cyrilda's Grudge will give you armor penetration and slows. So now we are up 9k gold, but again, 12,000 on Zed, 6,700 on Sejuani. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about because he clears like a Karthus. Then he just does this burst damage. It kills everybody as long as you're doing your EW properly. And you actually hit Qs and use your passive correctly. You can just sequence and keep doing that. And you can fight enemy junglers 1v1, and of course we have W mobility to get into their jungle now. See, this is where the blue smite is huge, because as they face check you or scan you, you can get closer to hit your spells. Now everyone's afraid of you, and this is typical assassin play. We saw this with the Elise video yesterday as well. Sitting in the... She's just sad. She's like, I don't care about my camps, I'm gonna just kill everybody. There we go. Nice little slow in the Cyrildas. We have top lane actions going on. The Sejuani is a bit out of position. See, she has 70% KP because she was actually trying to be as active as possible, but in the end... Zed sequence is faster. She felt desperate by this, made plays to try and get ahead of it, but it wasn't fast enough, and Zed was able to counter gank even early. Now the Silas will start to turn online. Here we go. And using his W to make sure we get that auto attack. I mean, ability to get the slow, because damaging abilities get the slow. So hitting those is kind of important when you have this item, but I mean, not much to talk about at this stage. But that's because assassins, I think the lesson here, the message in the bottle for all of you is you're most likely not going the right itemization. Well, I'm not saying no to that particular mode of transport. Renata showing that she is S+ champion design as well. So most people would have just died there. He just W's and then of course gets a full ult and then they die. So again, for assassins, the whole goal here is to reach this kind of game state by 20 minutes. You do not want to be an assassin who's behind. You do not want to be an assassin who hasn't sequenced properly, counter-ganked properly, let us just want to gank the map while you're perma-farming, not getting anything done. You will have losing game states, but as I addressed in the assassin video, and with Zed in particular, it doesn't really affect you when you have losing game states and you can sequence that quickly. Sejuani goes top, I go bot. Sejuani goes bot, I go top. You're clear so quickly, it's really easy for you to make equal and opposite plays, and of course push towers, which is the most important thing here. Now we're level 14, 3 levels up in the Sejuani. The Renata is empowering the Fiora. We are using the stopwatch. We will go into our GA, that we will use to go into our GA. And again, nice positioning from the W. So again, very smoothly done here by Mac Abbott, which I think I recognize from a friend's, Friendless, actually. But back then he was master, so hey, improvement for everybody. Very, very nice. Running away. Oof, I love the Chemtech map for this kind of stuff. I love this. Hey, this gives you shields now too and it doesn't slow you. This is huge here, the fact that this doesn't slow you. We do have the W so we can reposition very, very easily. I don't know why they're over chasing the Zed here, but that's the effect of a Fed Assassin who just makes everyone feel miserable. You get focused and they chase you and you don't always have the most fun when it's a Lulu. I mean, it seems like no one wants to hit this as one. The ultimate Nami's coming down with the Zed. Here we go. Can we have one more fight for the ages? Nami hits a beautiful long-range ultimate. Zed will go over the wall here again, using that shadow and spell appropriately, but don't always take the shadow. I know it looks like we need to take it, but we don't. Especially when we're lower, and then we have teammates that are dying and sort of putting themselves in rough situations. Ult in 8. Let's have a look here. We do have cash money, though. Yeah, with 2-7. You know, the BF sword and the... yeah, so the BF sword and the GA would have been useful, but they overchased again, and then the fact that he's so far ahead and does so much innate damage meant that he could just turn and get a triple kill. And obviously energy regeneration with his shadow, kind of nice. And then that passive coming in kind of huge. So not much really to discuss about that kind of stuff. With Assassins, you know, the combos, the direct just unloading of your spells kind of becomes routine in that particular situation. But what's the critical lesson that we learned from this particular play here as an assassin? You will know it if you watch my main channel and if you watch me for years, in and out gameplay, right? We go here, we trade, we leave. But in this case, we didn't even go in and trade because we're a little low. We needed to wait to get healed up by the Nami. We kited out a little bit. We trapped in the bush. They overcommitted. Then we used our shadow and we completely turned on them. We auto-attacked when we had no spells up. And if we were low again and they were healthy, we would reposition and then come back in later again. Rengars do it very, very well with your W cleanse and your flash and things like that. I showed that in the video. Evelyn's obviously can reposition with the camouflage. Kha'Zix has his ultimate and his ultimate evolved to reposition, get more passive procs, and then Zed has his shadow. So here we have, again, that's, you see, the big thing for me is the ability with the blue pet to move into bushes. I love watching Jace's get smacked, especially by Zeds. Especially when it's the Zed on his team. Thank you, Renata. That was very... Hillisang, I appreciate you. That was wonderful. I'm so glad to have seen that. Most of us don't like Jace, because if I have to see more Jace on the professional stage, I'm gonna lose my mind. At Worlds in particular. And also when I watch EU and NA play Jace, I'm offended to have witnessed this. So it's just a case of maybe we don't deal with this champion, but it is what it is. I would like to not see Fiora either, but apparently they're kind of set on having a certain core pool of champions that are good in pro play, and it is what it is. So yeah, in and out gameplay for all of your champions. Make sure you reposition. Zed's shadow, just for context here, is at a 10-second cooldown. And this time I will actually slow down for you. See, we use this shadow here, and we try to go for the E, W plus a Q there, but all we really need is is to hit 2 Qs and they basically get rinsed. Now we do take the W here, and this is where you want to be careful taking the W, because obviously you can't go back to that one, so we're going to be forced to dodge aggro. We're going to go in on the Fiora there to do so. She dies, of course, then we're going to keep auto-attacking to try and get a passive off. We'll try and get another W off, a Q off as possible, but if you're going to die, take your W back to your original location, because your ult does spawn one, and a nice little clean game. Sorry I don't slow down to like 0.5 speed, because, you know, that's here we're kind of talking about superficial mechanics. If you want to break down combos, again, you got to slow down, and that's a different kind of video. But here we're talking about jungling, how to play assassins, why Zed is super strong, and why I think more of you should be playing it. Just practice those shadow flows, right? Practice running at something, using your shadow, making sure you understand how the delayed proc of the E and the Q and things like that work, Q flash, flash Q, what sort of damage your passive can do. People don't use that enough at all, actually. Learn the damage atomization spikes, Ravenous plus the Eclipse of Prowlers, and the Sherilda's are really all you should need to carry a game home. Just keep that sequencing, play around the downtime, and you really can have a lot of fun with this champion. But try with the Mouse Stomper, try with the Gus Walker. Maybe you just prefer Scorch Claw, I don't know, it's up to you really, but thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed and learned something. Please do like, share, and comment if you did. Have a look at the main channel videos. The Magic Numbers one is kind of fun, but also super good to elevate your jungling to the next level. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. And have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate.